It's funny because I never thought, like, I've been producing music for all these years, went to Berkeley College of Music, you know, get an education, and wind up in a studio with a meme. But it's a big song.
Shawty lit the neck, cause we next up. Shawty wanna fuck, cause we next up.
The placement came about when the manager for Wide Neck and Long Neck, who's also Patty's manager, Millz, he just FaceTimed me. I'm his go-to for beats. I had produced a lot, you know, a collection of songs for the people he manages previously, so he just gave me a FaceTime. He knew I had beats on deck, and he asked for an anthem-sounding beat, and I had literally just got done making that beat right before he FaceTimed me. I made the beat in like 25 minutes. When I'm in the studio with Wide Neck and Long Neck, it's funny to me. It's a fun spin on things, whether you call it trap music or just hip hop, it doesn't matter. It's like some people identify with this music. They enjoy it, they're entertained by it. And you gotta have that kind of diversity in the world, or else it's like, you know, where's the fun? All right, I'm gonna show you how I made the beat to Neckst Up.
Respect the neck.
I wanted this beat to be really fast. I wanted it to be something that people could, you know, kind of like, there's a difference between turn up music and like hyped up turn up music, which is what I wanted this to be. So I double timed my BPM to 195, which is like really fast for any hip hop standard. And then some chords. And I started building the sounds like through different plugins. Like I used a software called Analog Lab for one sound, which is this. Kind of like the high end to the string chords that you hear in the beat. And then I layered it with another sound from Nexus, which is more low tone and kind of gives it body. You hear those two sounds working together. These don't switch up. They just keep going like this throughout the whole song. They might come out every now and then, let's go like that. 8 bars into the beat, I bring in a low like orchestra sound, which is doing a root note of the chords, you see here. It's real simple, but sometimes that's best, you know? It's just to have something that, if it sounds good, it is good. Not to overcomplicate it. That's something I always did with my beats, is appreciate simplicity and get the aesthetic out of a sound before trying to complicate it to get the aesthetic. Claps come in pretty, you know, unaccompanied right away. Put some reverb on them right here. And then one of the most important things in this beat is the 808, which I fell in love with this program called 808 Massacre. This is something like a lot of producers use and are familiar with, at least. I didn't get around to using this until like a few months ago, and I kind of have used this for the bass in all my beats since. And it really does like a good job with this glide tool here of giving a lot of character to 808 sounds. That glide right there, I take it off. It sounds, you know, good, but it's not. It doesn't have the same character as if I turn it on. You hear it come in with the glide. That's a big thing in that beat, because you know there's not too many sounds in this beat, so every sound matters.
All next matter.
So let me enable these chords again and continue. All this mess here is the drum pattern. I do involve a lot of sounds with the drums. I'm pretty strategic about my placements here with every sound. See the kicks right here, hand claps, then main hi-hats. These hi-hats here, the yellow, they kind of act like braces for the whole song. You know, they keep things, a lot of hi-hats, you know, in this beat are like spuriodic. They're just in random places that add a little character. So this hi-hat being so continuous is like that sense of stability that every beat needs. It gives it symmetry and gives it rhythm and gives it the ability to still nod your head and not be too weird. You know, this is a mainstream sounding beat in a way. But you hear the other hi-hats come in. They just kind of accompany that straightforward one, like right here. A little quick. And then the all-important crash that just gives a sense of, you know, like boom, transition. Which I sampled that into the software, you know. I didn't even put any effects on this. I just found the perfect sound for this beat, put it in there, measure 25, and it fits. Now we come up upon probably my favorite part of this beat, and what I think helped make this song as viral as it was these hand claps that just go make bitches twerk, you know. And that pairs up with the bell sound from Nexus, probably really common sound too. But it sounds good. And that sound is the... I'm heavily influenced by speaker knockers. When I first downloaded Nexus and I discovered this bell sound, my first thought was, oh my gosh, that's what he's been using this whole time. I started using it a lot up to this day. And I figured this was a good opportunity to use that bell sound. I tend to overuse it sometimes. I don't want to use the same sound too many of my beats, but this was one of those beats where it just worked out so nice. And if you hear it all together, that transition. And the hand claps here, speed up. This is the kind of beat that depends on transitions. It depends on the aesthetic of each individual sound. And right here, just having the hand clap speed up, you know, for the last 2 or 3 beats of this measure, it creates a transition that just gives you that euphoric sense of satisfaction when the 808s or when the kick comes back in with the hand claps, make you want to bob your head again. I'm sure producers watching this know transitions in a beat are super important, you know, even though they only last for a few seconds, the impact they have is much greater. You know, a beat is very repetitive in nature. Music depends on repetition and symmetry and like things that just kind of go over and over and over again. When you have a transition or things that variate itself in little parts, it kind of makes the repetition bearable. And when repetition becomes bearable in music, that's when you kind of have a good song, you know. I include little subtle, I guess, like sweeps in this beat. Right here is one. Pair that up with the crash cymbal. And you hear how that works within the beat. Remember, at measure 41 here, that's when it all kind of comes back in and drops. Yeah, guys, that's pretty much how I made the beat to Next Up. You can follow me on Instagram at SwanBeats. My name's Thomas Swanson. Find me all over the internet, obviously with the Next Up song. I do make and sell beats. I'm easy to get in contact with. Just give me that follow on Instagram.
Are you next up?
I don't know. Maybe.